Welcome back to Daybreak, and thank you for joining us. Now we move straight ahead to a discussion segment where we turn our spotlight on a political statement that has sparked debate across Nigeria. Peter Obi's declaration to serve only one term if elected president. Now, the former Labour Party presidential candidate made the announcement on his verified X handle, saying his goal is to offer purposeful, sacrificial leadership, and that 4 years is enough to change a country with the right vision and determination. Now, citing global figures like Abraham Lincoln, Nelson Mandela, and John F. Kennedy, Obi argued that greatness in leadership is not measured by the number of years in office, but by the impact made. Now, his promise, however, has generated sharply divided reactions. Supporters view it as a bold, refreshing break from the power-hungry norm of Nigerian politics, a genuine commitment to change. They believe it underscores Obi's willingness to lead selflessly and focus on laying solid foundations for reform. But critics are less impressed. Some have dismissed the pledge as political posturing. In one of the most controversial reactions, Anambra State Governor Chukwuma Soludo suggested Obi be taken to a psychiatric hospital, a statement that provoked outrage among Obi's loyalists and further intensified the political heat. Now, others within the ruling APC have labeled it a distraction and questioned the sincerity or practicality of such a promise in Nigerians' complex political system. So what does this mean for the future of Nigerians' leadership culture? Is Peter Obi redefining public service, or is this simply a calculated move ahead of 2027? Joining us to dissect the politics, the symbolism, and the possible implications of Obi's one-term offer is our guest, Hon Cletus Obun Mbia, a former lawmaker and respected public affairs commentator. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, Honorable Obun. So let's jump right in. Really, what do you make of Peter Obi's one-term proposal? Do you see it as visionary or tactical?
It is desperation parading as political maneuver.
Okay.
I say this because I imagine that this statement and the reactions it is generating is completely unwarranted and undeserving. No, he has said nothing new. Many, remember, Jonathan said the same thing. And that was what he was held on to when he attempted to do 10 years. He had brought a proposal that there should be one term of 6 years for president. And he was in his 6th year and turned around to ask for another 4 years to make it 10 against the Constitution. So natural justice, social justice, and political vendetta came out, and many people are interpreting it to mean that he was kicked out. They forgot that on his own, in the Constitutional Conference of 2014, he had proposed a 6-year one term. So this one-term mantra is nothing. What did Hauwa say? Just give me 1 year, 1 day to be Nigerian president, and I'll change Nigeria. Did Hauwa not say that? And that was why Odumegwu Ojukwu himself said this is, when he died, Odumegwu Ojukwu, the Kembanewe, said of Hauwa, this is the best president Nigeria ever had. So what is Peter Obi saying today that people are jumping over themselves like an irritated millipede? What is all that? So my problem is not about what he said and the reaction. Indeed, even Professor Soludo was quoted out of context. He was talking about the fact that those challenging him from his Anambra South, who know clearly that in the next time it was going to Anambra Central, should know that, those who he's talking to should know that they are not fools. That it is not possible for anybody to say when you know that you have 8 years, that after 4 years you want to go another 4 years. So anybody saying so should have his head examined. And just because Peter Obi said so a day or 48 hours before that time, everybody now refer to Peter Obi just to promote the fact that Peter Obi is one imaginary saint that has emerged. And I have maintained that for you to call anybody anything is anybody who is coming to the political scene as a fresher. But for a man who has ruled for 8 years, has been in the public space, has led political parties from ABGA to PDP as vice presidential candidate, to presidential candidate of Labour Party within a space of 2 decades. We can judge him. We can predict him. So there is nothing he is saying that we should be jumping about. There's nothing excitable about what he is saying. It's clearly for me, this is an act of intellectual fencing. It's solipsism in the public space. For us in languages and communication, it is clearly a case of propaganda parading as political correctness. There is nothing clearly to say that is excitable about what he has said. So bringing me to discuss him is like promoting him free of charge. And I'm not ready to do that.
We're not actually promoting him.
All right, Honorable. Realistically, when we talk about, you know, a lot of people would say that when someone comes to do 1 term, which is 4 years, according to the book, realistically, do you believe that anybody can make an impact during those 4 years that could help the trajectory, you know, that Nigeria could go forward positively?
Yes and no. Yes, depending on the character and the person. In our political history in the last 65 years, 64 years after independence, we've seen such leaders in Nigeria. And people talk as if we are not living here because we don't interpret our history within context. What is our context about making changes? An impact can be made. If Buhari did not come back as civilian president, we would remember him as a disciplinarian that would have changed Nigeria if he was not overthrown. In 20 months, Murtala Mohammed, you forgot he was a military dictator because the West told us that he's a dictator. Babangida, in all his perfidy on the June 12th matter, at Abacha, in spite of all his killings, in 5 years, the price of every product that he met remained the same. He was the one who gave us 3,000 naira minimum wage at the time when it was 800. I started lecturing with 810 naira as a lecturer 3, as an assistant lecturer. 810 naira. Some universities were paying 750 naira. This was in 1992, going to 93, 94. By 1994, we had gotten. So what I'm saying in effect is that, yes, all you need is not to see 7 roads and follow 7 roads. 10-point agenda, 8-point agenda. You can't do that in an emerging nation like ours with a plural and heterogeneous community, not just in terms of ethnic and religious diversity, but in terms of characterization and orientation. That is to say, a mindset in which government property is nobody's property. So you tar a road today, somebody carries iron rods, ties it on a motorcycle, and is dragging it on that tarred road because it is government road. You put a chair. I'll give you an example of a reverend father in my church who came into the place, finding the community very poor, decided to be printing bulletins, these bulletins that you put the Bible lessons on for that day on. That's a bulletin. He carries it and then prints it free of charge, gets his friends to help him print it, and he brings it to the church and distributes it. It became a job for the church ushers to start cleaning the church, picking those things. They put it on the floor to kneel down. They keep it on the chair to sit down. They use it to wipe the dust on their chair. After 1 month in the parish, he decides that he should pay 5 naira. And the church was very clean after service. Because it was being paid for. That is the kind of orientation I'm talking about. That is the heterogeneity of our orientation. What, as a lawmaker, we were given cars, which were government cars. And my friends were using their cars, wagons, to carry firewood, to carry cement to build their houses. At the end of the day, they now asked us and said, everybody go home with your car. They had to go home with 30 cars. I went to a brand new car that I used for another 5 years and gave it out to one of my supporters. That's what happened to my car. And people were asking me, well, how come your own car never gets old? I never treat it as a government car. I treat it as my personal car because government does not sit in the car. I sit there. If the tire is bad, I'm the one that will die there. If the lights go off when I'm driving in the night, it is me that will die there, not government. There's no government there. But what's the orientation and mindset of every public officer? This is a government car. Use it after all. You come and dump it there. But make him know that that car is his car. And then he is now busy taking care. The driver closes the door anyhow, he shouts at him. But when it is government car, you can bang it is my official car. So these are the kind of things that mindset. So depending on the person and the character of who you bring to office, things can change in one night. Just saying that petroleum subsidy is gone. Before we could leave Eagle Square, we could stop watching our TV. All the prices in the filling stations changed.
Absolutely.
When Buhari came into office, why has come back? Everybody, those who were keeping monies, were rushing to put it back. And when the man called us to a meeting and told us and said, this one that we have seen with this money, please jail them. He said, no, this is democracy. You have to go to court first. He said, how can you say this? This man is bringing this money, meaning that he has already pronounced himself guilty. So why are you asking us to go to which court? He said, no, sir, this one is democracy. The rule of law says that he has to be charged to court. He said, okay, people go and do what you like. And they're stealing under him. And of all the things you say about President Buhari, you can't say that he stole money. But ask those down his line. He kept his eye blind on it because you told him that here you don't do that, it's not military. And because he was also blackmailed with the idea of Decree 4. Oh, press freedom, you clamp down on journalists and jail them, Tunde Thompson and others. And he was blackmailed. And that is why most of us who spoke for him did so without even knowing him, without meeting him again. Because we discovered that the man was helpless. He couldn't say anything again. He said, you people say you should do rule of law. Go and do the rule. I don't know how to do rule of law. People do that. Don't forget that before he won his election, he had told Nigerians that this is not the Buhari you knew in 1984. He said so. It was front page of Punch and several other newspapers. Carried said, the Buhari you saw in 1984 is no longer the one you are going to meet here. I'm not only just old, I'm also now a converted communist. He was a communist. He believed in Marxism. He believed in communism. So he was doing that. If they catch you with this 80 years, even if you are 40 years old, 80 years, you'll be, whether you're alive or not, you go to jail in prison. While even in your grave, you go to prison. He did that in 1984, when he jailed those, 1983, when he came into office. So what we're saying is, then, of course, came the latest one. If you say that was military, President Umaru Yar'Adua. Umaru Yar'Adua, do you remember him? Just for the pronouncement he made that my election was flawed, I want reforms, he brought the Wise Commission. Everybody believed that if he stayed alive, Nigeria would have changed. He brought the amnesty in the Niger Delta and all that. He did all those things in 1 year before he died. When he took ill, Nigerians were praying for him to get well. So in 1 year, he had left a mark to show that these are signposts and symbols of a progressive-minded person who cared more about others than himself. And I'm very sure that if you left him, he would never contest for a second term.
All right. You just now that you've made it clear that with the right person, anything is possible for progression to happen in Nigeria. All right. And you mentioned earlier that you already know the track record of Peter Obi. Do you think that there could be a turnaround when it comes to this declaration that he just made, that if he's given the opportunity for 4 years, and Nigeria would progress positively when it comes to, his governance?
Let me tell you, a leopard, no matter the quantum of rain, the volume of rain, cannot watch its spots. We have a man who has marked himself out as a slippery customer on the political turf of Nigeria. That he talks more, he is busy citing Mandela. What made Mandela take that decision? Mandela fought as a young lawyer all his life for his people. And then his people crowned him and said, come and lead the country that you created. Nobody asked him to step down. He didn't announce to anybody that he's stepping down or that he was going to do one term. He finished one term and said, you are going for a second term, and he said, I am not doing. He didn't need to announce anything. A lion does not need to roar to show that it is a lion. You do not go and fold an umbrella and call it a walking stick. It doesn't. So an Obi who has been governor and tells us that we should move from consumption to production have shown no production in his entire business career. He buys and sells. Where's the production? Where's his factory? Is there no land in Anambra in his village to build once more? The factories you see producing these buttons that you do here in India are not massive houses. It's somebody's room. In China, it's rooms. It's not massive land. It's one section of the house. You just mount a machine there. Where's the production? What was produced in the technical schools and the polytechnics that were in Anambra, Oko Polytechnic and all that? What is being produced? What did he put there? You say we became number 1 in passing WAEC. After WAEC, what else? What is the production in WAEC? How does that become education? Local government ought to be doing bridges and markets, giving licenses for radios and bicycles and motorcycles. In 8 years, you didn't do one election until the last year you are in office. That's when you did the election for local government to give power to the people who you say you care about. So, I mean, we can go on and on. When we get to the campaigns, we shall deal with those issues. For now, let us not give him unnecessary publicity and free publicity by going to start analyzing him. When we get to the campaigns, we shall deal with the issues. But for now, Peter Obi is not one of those that we should trust. If, for example, today, I have made the point that you bring out an Achebe from his grave and say Achebe says that he's going to do 1 year in office, the whole Nigeria will vote for him. If you bring an Odumogojugo and he says, I will do 3 months in office, everybody will believe him. So it's not about where he's coming from. So that people will not start saying it's because he's an Igbo man. It's not true. There are Yoruba people that we can also say, this one, if he's saying this, we cannot believe you. Because this is what you have done. We can say so about some Hausa people like that. Atiku is one of them. He's moved from party to party and jumped from between 2007 and 2019. He has changed more than 4 parties and repeated parties more than 5 times. Now, can you then say genuinely that it's because he's a full animal and that's why we are saying so? Can you say that it's because he's a northerner? Can a northerner trust him? So we cannot begin to see lies vegetate on the table of truth. It is not possible. So a habitual liar and a habitual and inconsistent political actor cannot suddenly develop the wings of veracity. So we will not be putting our hearts in the ring for a Peter Obi or any of those kind of persons that you find today in what they are calling the coalition or coagulation of political actors.
All right, Honorable. We've seen, Nigerian politics being driven by tenure, allegation, political recycling over and over again, and and a sense of entitlement when it comes to the 8 years in office. Now, do you think that Nigerians are, should I say, politically mature enough to value such an offer? Because I mean that we've not had any precedent, come out before to say that I want to serve just 1 term. So do you think Nigerians are, mature enough to
let me
this?
not promote this fact. When you say a president say I will serve for 1 term, I've said that we have seen that now. I've not given you examples here. Peter Obi is not saying anything. I've said so now. So I don't know what else you want me to prove. But like I said, let us not go there. The point you made, which is the fact of can Nigeria, if people don't know this Nigeria, that Nigeria, they mature. Have we not seen governors losing election as sitting governors? Did we not see a ruling party ruling Nigeria? When it happened in Ghana, Nigeria said it can never be in Nigeria. Nigeria is not possible for a sitting government to lose. When we won in 2015, the opposition won in 2015, it became history against all odds. In 2023, for the first time, a Nigerian president emerged in our democracy from 1960 to today. A sitting president lost election in Kano and Lagos. He lost his own state. For the first time in his political life, Tinubu lost election in Lagos State. Nobody talked about rigging in Lagos. So he rigged against himself. And there was so much anger on the streets that it almost became a tribal war. We have a situation in which senators and federal house members in eastern Nigeria were coming from both ABGA, APC, PDP, and Labour Party. Yet, all the candidates, presidential candidates, Kwankwaso, Atiku, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, all of them could put together, they didn't get 5% of the votes in southeast Nigeria. In an election in which was in 1 day at one time at the same minute, there was 1 ballot paper. And Ojus Okalo will get 62,000 votes for APC as a senator. And the next voting that takes place, federal house and presidential election, the 2 of them combined couldn't get 2,000 votes in the same polling unit, in the same federal senatorial district. What magic was that? And yet there was no rigging. Nobody cried foul about that. You go to Cross River State and Labour Party wins the presidential election in Cross River State, but gets only one Labour Party federal house in an election that was voted the same time. Was that also rigging? Was it a rigging in Cross River State when we were there as APC? And yet one no other thing, including state houses thereafter. So was there rigging? Was it a rigging and manipulating results in those places? Was it done by the same INEC that is so bad and corrupt? And then you move on and on. So sitting in 2007, Muazu, Bauchi governor, if I'm not mistaken, was contesting election against ACN, Action Congress of Nigeria. I was the state chairman, so I should know. Mekan was our chairman in that place. APC won the senatorial against him sitting as sitting governor. ACN, a non-existent, as you are saying, ABGA today, we did that. In 2023, the governor of Cross River State, against a PDP, a sitting governor and a sitting senator, sitting federal member, the election took place. We lost so badly that we couldn't even spell our name. In that senatorial district where the governor comes from and was contesting. So Nigerians are mature enough to know what they want and do what they want. Right. So don't underrate Nigerians. The political education you are asking for, because political parties, one of the duties of a political party which is enshrined even in elementary government is voter education. Right. Do we do it? No. We do voter disinformation to ensure that the voters don't know. But unfortunately, you can tell a blind man that there is no oil in the soup. You can't tell him there is no salt because he will taste it. True. So you can't tell the voters whether you are good or bad. They will see what you are doing. The bridges, the roads, the schools, they will know whether you are the one to vote for or not again. So that is where we are today in Nigeria. So don't underrate the Nigerian voter. Where you think that there is high level of illiteracy, for example, in northern Nigeria, as the demographics show today, that is where the wisest voters are coming from. You don't cheat them. You don't carry their results. And now with improvement in the electoral and voting pattern in terms of using the biometric system, the beavers, it is no longer possible to hijack ballot papers or ballot boxes and run away. Once you do that, election is cancelled. So you must go and thumbprint. And of course, it must show, and it is verifiable. So when people speak about inability or Nigerians' inability to break through money now, in the last 2023 elections, I told most of the people that money won't work. Fortunately or unfortunately for it, was a great experiment because there was no cash anywhere. The cash that was available was limited. Even to move it around was a problem. So it is, the only currency was character. Who do the people know? That was what influenced that election. Because even if you transfer money, of course for the villager, if you show him money in your account, that's 419. Sir, they sent money for me to give you, but it is here. I can't go to 419. Please, don't worry, we'll vote. And they went ahead and voted and did what they did. So we are going to continuously make progress. Nigerians don't know that we have made so much progress. That there was a time I ran an election in which I'm holding ballot boxes, ballot papers in a police station, and results were being announced on radio.
All right. Honorable, quickly before we go.
Today you can't do that.
Yes. Before we go, I would like to ask in 1 minute, do you believe that in Nigeria it has now become a rule of thumb for the 8-year tenure? Because it seems like each and everyone, there are lots of people that are saying, let Tinubu rule for his 8 years, as if it is already, guaranteed. So has it become a rule of thumb that each and every person that comes into office is expected to rule for 8 years?
The trust deficit is so heavy and weighs on the politician. We are gradually going to get to the stage in which they will tell you, this president, you have done this 4 years, they are so terrible, we cannot continue. And we ask you, a Tinubu presidency has exhibited raw courage in the face of daunting national crisis. We are about to build a nation. We have been running a country. This issue of nationhood, in which we are now going to be asking, is this man good? Or where is the first question you ask somebody, where are you from? Once you start asking that question, already in a state of suspicion. Each time you ask somebody, where are you from? You are already suspecting him. That where you come from will decide how you are going to treat me. Nationhood amounts to what is his name? What was he doing? The testimonies of others. As enshrined in your conduct in the office you have held as a reporter, as an anchor, as a journalist, as a teacher. That is why in those days, before today, teachers were the ones, in fact, today, even today, the remnant of the products of teachers are the people ruling in Nigeria today.
All right.
Thank
you so much,
And I'm the son
Honorable.
of a teacher, not just a teacher, I'm the son of a headmaster.
All right, thank you so much, Honorable. It's always a pleasure to have you here and for your insight, as always.
Thank you very much. May we grab a nation, and we pray to God that He gives us a nation where no man is oppressed.
Amen. Thank you so much.
Thank you so
May
much.
Nigeria be blessed.
All right, that is all we have for this segment. Make sure you stay with us. We'll be going on a quick break. When we come back, we'll be reviewing the front pages of our national dailies and see what made it there. We'll be right back.